Hey kids, welcome back to Glenn Yaps. This is kind of a part two to my pawn shop guitar buy that I made a number of days ago. I posted the video on YouTube and also on my Facebook page, so I got some questions from some people. So first of all, I'm a professional drummer, not a professional guitar player. Guitar is just fun for me. It's also a tool for writing songs for myself and just having fun in my studio. So when I do tests on guitar, it's strictly for my enjoyment of the instrument and the enjoyment of a purchase that I might have made on a particular piece. Now I do have a lot of guitars. I actually have more guitars than my guitar players in my band, who are the professionals. I just like to collect. I like to collect musical instruments. That's just me. So on this guitar that's hiding behind me here, try and get it out without knocking stuff over. So people are asking a little more details on it. I'll try and answer your questions, but this particular guitar, I was asked where it was made. This is the Indonesia model from 1998. I know they were made in China. Somebody was saying they were made in Mexico. Some were saying the China ones are the worst and that the Indonesia ones were good. I couldn't tell you. I've seen some of the articles written about them. There are some guitar pro guitar players that call them junk. There are some other players that love them. And a lot of people say they're a great tool to start with or modify into your own Frankenstein kind of version of a guitar. I have a lot of good guitars. I have top-of-the-line Fenders, and I have some cheapy modified ones, full spectrum. For me, this guitar plays great for cheapy. I paid $100 for it. It doesn't owe me a thing already because I've already enjoyed the 4 or 5 days I've had it just playing around with it. There's actually nothing wrong with the guitar. It plays beautiful, the action's great, the neck's perfect. It is missing the original whammy bar. This one's black. That's the way it was in the pawn shop. I'm okay with that. I thought about changing out some of the parts to black. Not sure. It's not high priority. So anyways, they asked some questions of it, asking about the body being thin and that. I can tell you that this guitar has weight to it. It's not one of the light ones. I've gone to the music store, had the lighter ones, and yeah, those feel cheap. This does not feel cheap. This actually feels really good. It's definitely a heavier body. It's definitely thicker. So also the serial number on this, I'm going to read the serial number. It says crafted in Indonesia. So the serial number is IC 98081986. So from what I understand, the IC is Indonesia Court. So Court meaning the guitar company Court that was made in. And we know these things were just what's the term? I mean, they're thrown out to different companies to build. Um, so sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I guess, you know. I mean, I've had the odd cheap guitar that was basically unplayable. Um, but it's just fun to work on them and get them to work and you know, try and enjoy them. I rarely ever scrap a musical instrument. I try and get it to work. Even my drums, I'll buy cheaper drums. I have a bearing edge machine. I'll cut my own bearing edges, which gives a drum set, especially cheap ones, a whole new burst of sound by playing around with the bearing edges on drums. You'd be shocked at how good some of the cheaper Japanese from drum sets from the 60s and 70s can be improved by just adding a good bearing edge. Anyways, this guitar, I took it apart, and the pickups in them, they had some writing on it. I didn't actually write that down, which I probably should have. But they're heavier pickups. They look like they have double magnets on each one. And I've seen some pictures where it's just like a signal or a single strip magnet. These have double on each. Possibly ceramic. I don't know how to tell the difference. All I know is I like the sound of it. And in the other video, it didn't sound cheap to me. I mean, I've had some, you know, cheapies come through that the pickups were horrible and got rid of them and just put some of the better ones in. But these ones are fine. So still get that chimey Fender Strat kind of sound. I'm sure it doesn't sound like you know, your $2,000 US Strats, but we're talking $100 here. So was the $100 well spent? Damn right, it was well spent. No issues with it all. The neck, like I say, is perfect. Once I cleaned it and buffed the frets, it just feels great. So that's the back of the guitar. I'm not sure what the CE stands for. This little sticker. There was a sticker here also. You can tell just that it was there. It's probably either a price sticker or something else, but just a little bit of a discoloration there. Whatever the sticker was, it was there for years, and when I got it, it wasn't. So, machine heads, they're fine. They tune perfectly. I had no issues with clunkiness or, you know, it's going and feel like one was tighter than the other. They all feel even. No issues. And the plate in here, I mean the springs in there, there's actually 5 springs in there. I don't know how they come normally. I know a lot of them come with 3s. I'm not a whammy bar kind of player, so, but there's 5 springs on that. I would imagine that's stock, and then if you use the whammy bar a lot, you take out 2 springs, because I see 3 in there a lot. There's nothing on this plate. I've seen some videos with the serial number and then made in China. I've not seen any made in Indonesia ones engraved, but it does say that right here. It doesn't look like this body is from something else. Oh, something else too. When I took this apart, because I think these guitars came with like optional pickups. People asked about the routed hole in there. There was a weird name. Some of the people that asked, and I've never heard the term before. It is a swing. What do they call it? A pool, or I don't know, something like that. All I can tell you is the routering of the wood in there is like a humbucker was here, or a humbucker was an option for on this end and also up here. So you have a rectangular hole, it goes skinny, goes wider for the center pickup, goes skinny, and then to a humbucker squarish pickup. It looks totally factory in there. Wasn't altered. It's also not plywood. I took some of the paints off in one end, and it's totally a wood. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it's not a plywood. So it might be a either 2-piece or 3-piece. I couldn't tell you. I don't think it's a 1-piece. So, but everything is painted inside. Even it's done really nice. Even the parts that are hidden. The wiring is beautiful. It's not like it's just thrown together with cheap wires. It's actually done really well, nice and neat. Could that have been altered by somebody? It's possible. Couldn't tell you. But all I know is it's neat. No dust in it. It was done well. The finish is original. It's never been painted. A little bit of color fade I noticed on the pickup when I took it off to clean it, because I took everything off to clean it. So that's the scoop on it. I think it's the questions that were asked. It's not for sale. I don't sell anything. I'm a hoarder. But I've been asked if I would sell it, because I have friends that are guitar players, and they're always interested in fun guitars to modify and make better. I think if I do change stuff on here, obviously I would probably experiment with maybe different volume pots and that, and pickups maybe. So far the tuning pegs are fine. I mean, I'm not on stage and I'm not wailing on it for like 4 hours a day. I play in my studio here and I just have fun with it. And my wife plays drums and we do practice sessions together too. So for $100, it's a great guitar. People ask me, some of these kind of questions I wouldn't even know the answers to. Would you recommend it? Because I guess people see them online. So you have to do the research on them. I've done a little bit on it. I didn't do the research before I bought the guitar. I walked into a pawn shop and went, "Oh, that's interesting. I never saw, a cream colored Strat before." So I just picked it up. As soon as I picked it up, I go, "Oh, it's got some weight to it," and I just kind of crouched down and played it. I had to tune it. Was out of tune, and it just felt good. So I said, "Okay, I'm buying it." I didn't even plug it into an amp. So it's just the way I am. It's like, if it's a total failure, well then, put it aside and then turn it into some kind of Frankenstein guitar after. Well, that one I think I'm going to leave the way it is, because I have no problems with it. So I can't say yes or no to recommending buying this particular guitar. I've watched some videos, some experienced guitar players, and there's one guy who lines up like 6 of these Squier guitars, and this one's junk, this one's junk, this one's junk, this one's junk. You know what? I don't believe that. I don't believe it. It's junk to a guy that's now up to, he's a professional top player, and he knows what he wants, and he doesn't want to go backwards in time. But this guitar is not junk for $100. I mean, some kid would love to play this, and this I can tell you right off the bat, a young person starting out on guitar would love this guitar, and it would take them, a few years into their music career with no problem. So, I mean, I've been hammering on it for days right now, and it's still in tune. So, and I haven't had a problem. But sometimes you get the guitar snobs that they kind of look, at the cheaper stuff, and it's like, we can't go there. So there's some guys that are honest on there, and I understand the tuning peg thing, but I wind my strings, with a little more string on them, with a little more crisscross, and I've never really had any problem with the slipping of tuning. I've never had a guitar with bad tuning pegs. I know they're out there, But oh, that's the other thing. These guitars, you can't just put any replacement tuning pegs on them. I see some people drilling the headstock out and putting on. I'm sure you can do that, but there is a couple of companies that have exact replacements, you know, with better quality tuning pegs on that. I mean, you have to research them. There's a couple of videos that actually mention them. I haven't looked into it because, except for those videos, and I mean, these guys make a lot of videos talking about this stuff, all this gear and hardware you can modify. So, but what I wouldn't do is like drill the headstock and put these other tuners on where you have to re-drill those holes, and then you see the other old holes, and it's like, no, that just makes it look ugly. So anyways, that's the scoop. And would I recommend it? Sure. It's like a great beginner guitar. Man, I started playing on an old 60s clunker there that had no truss rod in it, and I mean, you could have used it, the whole guitar, for a hockey stick. It was horrible. I still played. I still had fun with it. But these guitars and the ones you buy now, they're set up pretty much, you know, what we call a turnkey. You can just have fun with them right away without, you know, getting tendonitis because the action is this high off the neck, because you don't have a truss rod to adjust. I set up all my own guitars. I learned how to do that years and years and years ago. So even though I'm a hack kind of player that just has fun with it, I set my own guitars up. I think everybody should learn how to do it. That way, when you walk into a music store and find these used guitars, you know, you can at least give it an eyeball on, you know, if the neck's got this curve like a corkscrew. It's like, well, maybe you don't want to buy that one. But, and it's funny, I saw there's some guy that makes, I think it's bass guitars with curved necks like this. It's to help for, is it ergonomics is the word, I guess. But anyways, it's so to not get tendonitis and stuff. It's a more comfort thing. The whole neck has got a curve to it. So I'm going to look more into that. It's kind of interesting. So anyways, that's the scoop. I'm hoping I answered all the questions. I'm running that, I've tried it, this guitar. In the video, I ran it through a Vox that has a tube preamp system, 2 tubes in the preamp system. But I've run it through my vintage Super Reverb that's behind me. I don't know if you can see it. That's been all modified. That's a beautiful, beautiful amp. And I've run it through this 90s Fender Deluxe. And I run it through this 70s Lab Series 3 amp. And this guitar sounds good on all of them. So, good to my liking. So don't listen to the guitar snobs out there. $100 is easy money to lay down on a cheap guitar that you want to, you know, modify and just have fun with. And create your own little Frankenstein guitar that sounds good to you, plays good to you. As for the neck, it's really, really skinny compared to my Strat over here. It's smaller than I would like, but I'm getting used to it. But it feels fantastic. It's like got no issues. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any more questions, you can just leave them in the comments on YouTube, and on my Facebook page you can just private message me or comment on the video in the comments there too. Alright, thanks for watching.